Let's bring in Stephen Ellis now, associate editor, prospect analyst for Daily Faceoff. Hey, Stephen, this is like your Christmas or Stanley Cup, the draft. Would I be right? This is your thing this weekend in Vegas.
Yeah, my first time here in Vegas. The weather has been hot, but not humid, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's been a good time. A lot of fun already.
Where are you at? Where exactly are you joining me from right now?
I am sitting in the Circa Hotel, which is in Old Vegas, and it's got this really amazing pool, the stadium swim, which is like this outdoor pool, and it's got amazing, massive screen. And I've spent a lot of time already there. It's been a good time.
Good for you, man. Well, listen, if you're pinching pennies, check out the Golden Nugget Buffet. $35, homemade. It tastes like homemade. Thank me later, Stephen. We had Rich Sutter on last hour, and he said the draft begins after number 1 and Macklin Celebrini. Your thoughts on what's going to go down here the next couple days?
It's going to be interesting. You know, there's been a lot of rumors, a lot of talk about what's going to happen. I feel at this point it looks like Chicago's going to go with a defenseman, probably Artem Levshunov, a guy who could do a bit of everything. And then it gets interesting with Anaheim and Columbus, the next 2 picks. And because for either team, like they can go in any position. So it really depends on what they want to see. I feel like we're going to see more trade talk also than we saw last year when there were no trades in the first round. You look at a team like Buffalo at 11, like they could really benefit from trading their pick. The Devils, maybe they want to go all out next year and they'll trade that pick right away. And a few other teams there in that realm too. We know Montreal and Calgary are 2 teams that are trying to potentially move up. So it's definitely an interesting time where we're going to see a bit more action probably than we did last year.
Of all the prospects, I would say the guy's name I've heard the second most to Macklin Celebrini is Iginla. And Rich Sutter called him TJ. I thought it's spelled Tidge. How do you say it officially, just so we get that out of the way?
It's like Tej, like Teej is kind of like the pronunciation I've been told.
Tej, that's what I thought. Oh, maybe that's what Rich said and I misheard him. But is he all that? Is he a legit top 10 player, or does the surname have a little to do with that?
He's legitimately a top 10 prospect. Like if Calgary got him at 9, like it wouldn't feel like a nepotism pick. It would actually feel like the right pick. And that's because he's such a smart player. He moved from center to the wing this year to get more opportunities to score goals. And he almost hit 50 goals this year. I got to see him up close at the U18 World Championship in Finland. And the thing that really stood out to me wasn't the goal scoring, wasn't the play driving, but it was just how physical, how energetic he was. And this is a player that if he's not scoring goals in the NHL, he's going to find other elements of the game to be really relevant in. And someone like that's going to have a very good career. And again, like it helps that he's got the lineage there. He's got a really good, he's a smart guy. He's going to find ways to be effective. I could see him becoming an NHL assistant GM and a regular GM one day just because he's just so thoughtful and so smart.
Rich felt there would be a lot of timeouts in the first round. It'll be a long first round. What would make him say that, do you think?
You know, the battle between taking a defenseman or taking a forward this year is extremely strong. And, you know, if you asked me 2 months ago if the top 10 would be dominated by defensemen, I'd say yes. I don't know if I think that way anymore. It really kind of depends on, you know, if let's say Chicago does take Levshunov, what does Anaheim do? And that could really spice things up. Do they go for a goal scorer? Do they go for a guy like Ivan Demidov, the most skilled player in the draft? Or do they go for Anton Salayev and get someone who's 6'7" and crushing up there? I think it really will just kind of depend on what happens at number 3 of Anaheim, number 4 of Columbus. That will really kind of shake up the rest of that first round.
Tony in Cochrane writes in, he says, Tej Iginla would be a sentimental pick, but I would not give up draft picks to get him. We need D-men and a backup goalie, too. So, yeah, they're split on that. What we'll say, Craig Conroy, Jerome Iginla, Ryan Huska, fantastic hockey men. Let's just pray they're allowed to do their jobs, because I think those guys could figure it out as long as they're allowed to do their jobs. Here's one from producer Clark. This morning, he's like this. Ask Stephen about Michkov. Ask him about Michkov. Or maybe it was Darren that said that. Either or. Phillies prize pick from last year, there's some news on him. Can you relate it to our audience?
Well, it looks like he's going to be joining the Philadelphia Flyers next year, which was not expected. We thought he would not be here till the 2026-27 season. So he's, again, I called him last year Philadelphia's next superstar. And especially with Cutter Gauthier out of the way, I 100% sticking with that. He's going to be a superstar.
Darren DuPont says, your clip saying Michkov's better than Bedard had 80,000 views on TikTok. Did you get any blowback on that? And do you stand by that, by the way, my friend?
I would have to remember what actually was said, because I've always said that Bedard was the better player. That was no one's questioning that. Michkov is better in certain elements of the game.
We can.
I made it very clear. There's differences between the two. Bedard was number one, no question about it. But Michkov was a lot closer to number one than I think people really gave him credit for.
We'll dig it up. That's the beautiful thing about the media in 2024. Check the receipts. It's funny, by the way, Randy Moeller was saying here, he was on just before you, I don't know if you saw it, he was like, all the people that wrote off the Panthers going into Game 7, a lot of their own fans did. We've got the screenshotted, I've got the screenshotted tweets from the people that didn't believe in their own team. What was your take just on you work in hockey, so you were watching it. What did you think of the series, man? And did it play out the way you thought that it would?
I saw some people calling that one of the best Stanley Cup finals in a long time. I thought there was too many dull games, just no matter what team you're watching. There were a lot of blowouts in it, and there was just a lot of games that the fact that not one game had a lead switch, basically. But the Game 7 was awesome, and I'm happy for Florida because that's a team that really, that fan base has been through so much where it's like how many years of the jokes of, oh, look, there's no fans. So to see them actually go out there and win it all on home ice, I think that's awesome.
Good stuff. Okay, well, what else are you getting up for the weekend? Are you going to the awards? What's on your schedule, Stephen?
So yeah, doing the awards tonight. Looking forward to that at the Fontainebleau, and then tomorrow will be my first time in the Sphere. So it's going to be pretty. It's a busy time, as you can imagine. It's myself and Matt Larkin here, Daily Faceoff, Frank Saravelli. We've got a good group out here, and it's just kind of work all the time.
But does it feel like work? Really?
I got to spend last night in the nicest pool I've ever been in my life. I can say I've been in a lot worse places.
Attaboy, Stephen. Well, I know how busy it is. I appreciate you always answer the bell for us, and I just want you to know that it's appreciated. And go enjoy yourself, man. Enjoy it for all that it is.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm about to do a show in the pool, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll be tuning in. Thank you, Stephen.
That's hot.
Yep. See you later.
Stephen Ellis from the Daily Faceoff. He's the associate editor and prospects analyst, and he's as good a guy as it looks. And I'm telling you, he always does bail us out, and he does a great job.